So recently, I moved into an older house with my full family, mother, aunts, uncles, brothers, and cousins, so that we can take care of my grandparents who are very old. The only house that had enough rooms for all of us and was able is a very, very old wooden house. In the room of one of my cousins, there's a small door that leads to a kind of basement. The former owner of the house said he lost the only key to that door a long time ago, and that already left me with anxiety and nervousness. My cousin says that at night it makes a little noise, and my uncle says that there are probably mice inside. At the same time, that some of my cousin's things, which have the door in the room and mine are disappearing. My room is next to him. The food we bought in large quantities because of the number of people has been ending up too fast. And my mom says it's because me and my cousins are puberty and eating a lot. I always hear strange noises in the house and I feel like I am being watched, but everyone says that I only have this impression because I am a pussy and the house is old. I have always been a paranoid and very anxious person, and I confess that I am quite fearful. But I am not able to relax a minute in this house by the impression that someone unwanted is in it. And I know that no one in my family is going to investigate or worry about it because I'm just a 15-year-old kid with a big imagination according to them. But I can't stop this constant fear in that place. Background: I am a medical student and live just behind my college in a hostel in a well populated area. It takes about 15 minutes to get to my college from my hostel. So this happened a year ago. I had just enrolled into college, and you know the enthusiasm when you just entered college. All the ambitions to do good to come out on top of the class. I hadn't studied for about a week, so I decided I needed to do something about it. I decided to study from that very day. It was about 10:45 p.m. in the evening, but I would not budge. I was determined to study, and what better place than a college library. So I packed some books and head up to the library. A 15-minute walk around the walls of my college. It was about 11 when I got out of my hostel and through a small corridor made my way to the main road. Though it was well lit, it was eerily silent and lonely. I had never been here at this time of the night. Then from the side of my eye, I noticed a vehicle approaching me from behind. I didn't care much as it drove past me, but then it stopped, 10 meters ahead of me. As I walked by, the driver pulled the windows down and spoke to me in our native language. "Hello, sir. You are going to the hospital, aren't you? I know you. You study doctor, don't you?" I was taken back. I glanced his face and no, I don't know him by any means. And I had not been there long enough and hadn't interacted with much people for someone to know me. He again said, "Don't worry, sir. I will take you there for free. Come sit here. I am going to the same place." He pointed at his back seat. He again made the same request, emphasizing on the free ride. I couldn't process all of it, but my instinct told me that something was wrong. Why would someone I don't know offer me a free ride to a place not even far away at this time of the night? To add to that, the neighborhood few blocks away was notorious for its cases of looting of passerbys, and we were clearly warned by our seniors not to venture there in the dark, and always to have a companion even while going to the library. I quickly said I am not going there. "You can carry on, sir," and started walking on. I was watching everything with tail of my eye as I walked on. His taxi didn't move an inch, and then I was struck with a dilemma. The path divided into a straight road that led to my college, and one acute U-turn that went down the hill. I had to make a choice. If I go to the straight way, he would have an excuse to question me again, as I had lied. So I made a split-second decision and I went down the dark U-turn and ducked down into the shadow and watched. My heart was about to explode. The taxi started up and accelerated towards a straight path for some distance. I ran back to the original path again and hid in the shadows of a corridor and watched. The taxi went straight, entered a wide area, and came around and went down the hills the same way where I had been a few moments earlier ducking in the dark. I completely froze. He had clearly stated where he was headed to, but immediately changed his route to where I pretended to go. I ran back to my hostel, locked my room, and tried to calm down and gather my thoughts. It costs an awful lot to study MBBS in our place, so you need a good family income to sustain, and every other person in the area was a medical student staying in a hostel. So maybe his intention was to rob me or worse, kidnap me, pretending he knew me, or maybe he really wanted to help. I don't know and I will never find out, but after that I have never walked alone at night in the area, and also packed up my studies for the next month or so. My friend and I recently started school. We are on a hybrid schedule due to COVID, so we get out early. We were waiting for one of our friends to carpool us home. So we went to a cafe across the street from our school to wait for them. We got our food and decided to eat outside so we could social distance. We spent the next 10 minutes or so talking and eating when a car pulled up awfully close to us. We looked at each other, but we thought that maybe they just wanted to go to the restaurant. So we ignored it until a guy who seemed to be in his late 20s called out to us. We didn't answer, we just looked at him. He asked us if we were freshmen. We were still in our school uniform, so it was obvious we were in high school students. We said no and just stared at him. We were getting pretty nervous at that point. He then proceeded to ask us if we wanted to hop in this car and smoke some weed. At this point, we were just pretending not to hear him, but he kept asking. I noticed that there were about 4 other people in his car that seemed to be the same age as us. I was mortified. He started to approach us when one of the people in the cafe saw us and asked us if we were okay. We didn't say anything. We just looked at the weird guy asking us to smoke weed. He looked at us with a scowl, said, "Whatever, never mind." He hopped in the car and drove away. Thank God for the guy that came to our rescue, our friend. Showed up about 15 minutes later, and boy did we have a story to tell. Summer night alone with my siblings. Late night 10 or 11, summer dark. I was 6 or 7. My brother, 4, and sister, 5, slept in the same room. One night, my parents went out and told me to watch them. The 60s to 90s were a lawless wasteland. Obviously, I thought it'd be easier to corral my siblings into their room and stay there, not destroying the house. So we played a while, bounced on the bed some, ate some snacks, got my siblings really hyped up as a punishment. For watching my sibs, well, we had no AC, and of course, my siblings started crying. It was too hot. I figured we're nearly 2 stories up, but opening the window would be okay. It was screened. I would make sure sibs didn't go near the window. After a while, they got bored and tired. It's now probably 3 or 4 a.m. I'm tired as well, but obviously can't sleep. I'm reading, being quiet, waiting for the parents. Unknown to me, they'd come home and they were continuing the party in the other half of the house. Next thing I know, I hear a noise I can't figure out. I look around, worried. OMFG, someone was putting a ladder up near the house. Then boom, he razor bladed the window screen in an X and stuck his masked face through. Started climbing in. I scream a scream I've never screamed before or since. I just knew we were getting robbed at best, murdered or kidnapped at worst. Boom, the locked bedroom slams open. My coked up dad comes running in, looks around and starts swinging at masked men. Masked man pulled himself out of the window, falling off the ladder. I know the ladder fell. I assume he ran up. My parents obviously didn't call 911. They were too messed up for that. Dad wandered around the outside for a while, threw out the ladder, duct taped the axe, slammed closed the window, and